Your blood sugar is not the actual problem. This is, and it's something most doctors never take the time to explain to you. I want you to pause for just a second. Think about what you ate yesterday. Maybe you tried to eat something healthy, or maybe you didn't. Either way, here's the secret most people are missing. Your blood sugar could look perfectly normal on your labs this morning. Your doctor might look at your chart and tell you that everything is fine. But underneath the surface, your insulin levels could have been quietly climbing for the last 10 or 15 years. There is no loud alarm for this. There is no red flag on a standard lab report. Instead, there are just tiny, subtle signs. You might feel a bit more tired after you eat. You might notice some extra weight that settled around your waist and just won't budge. Maybe your energy used to be steady, but now it crashes every day by 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Or perhaps you get intense cravings just a couple of hours after a full meal. These things are not random. They are signals from your body, and almost nobody explains what they actually mean. Here's the truth that changes your whole perspective. By the time your blood sugar is officially high enough for a doctor to call it pre-diabetes, the real problem has been growing for a decade or more. The high glucose you see on a test is not the start of the issue. It is a late-stage sign that a deeper process has been broken for a long time. Most people are watching the smoke, but they are ignoring the fire. My name is Dr. Samuel Thompson. I have spent over 24 years in clinical medicine, mostly working with patients facing metabolic and surgical challenges. I have sat with thousands of people who were doing exactly what they were told, and yet their health was still getting worse. What I found over and over again is that the advice most people get is aimed at the wrong target. Today, I'm going to explain what the real target is, why it matters more than blood sugar, and give you 5 simple, practical ways to start fixing it. Once you understand how this works, the path forward becomes much clearer. Let me ask you to think back 15 or 20 years. Back then, you could probably eat a big plate of pasta, some bread, and maybe even a dessert, and you felt okay afterward. You woke up the next day feeling like yourself. But think about how you feel now. If you eat that same meal today, within an hour, you feel heavy, foggy, and maybe even a little grumpy. Your energy disappears, and you feel like you need to take a nap. Then, 2 hours later, you are hungry again. Most people assume this is just what getting older feels like. They think the body just breaks down over time. But that isn't true. This difference matters more than almost anything else I can say today. What changed wasn't just your age. It was a slow shift in how your body handles insulin. This shift wasn't unavoidable. It was built slowly by the signals you gave your body, and because it was built, it can also be fixed. Let's look at how this works in simple terms. Your cells need fuel to keep you moving. That fuel is mostly glucose, which comes from the carbohydrates and sugars you eat. However, glucose cannot just walk into your cells on its own. It needs a key to let it in. That key is a hormone called insulin, which is made by your pancreas. Every time your blood sugar goes up after a meal, your pancreas sends out insulin to unlock the doors of your cells so the glucose can enter and be used for energy. When you are healthy, this system works perfectly. A tiny bit of insulin does the job, your blood sugar stays stable, and your energy is great. But here is what happens over years of eating large carbohydrate meals and snacking all day. Your cells start to get tired of all that insulin. The locks on the cell doors get sticky. Insulin shows up to let the glucose in, but the door won't budge, so your body does the only thing it can. It makes even more insulin. It creates a massive pile of keys to force those doors open. For a while, this works. Your pancreas works overtime to pump out enough insulin to keep your blood sugar in the normal range. This is why your doctor says your labs look fine, but underneath your system is under massive strain. This is called insulin resistance. It is the real fire behind the smoke of high blood sugar. Data from the CDC shows that about 88% of adults have some form of this metabolic trouble, and most have no clue because their blood sugar hasn't crossed the danger line yet. Research shows that high insulin can show up 10 years before your blood sugar actually breaks. This means you have a huge window of time to step in and fix things before they get serious. If it took 10 years to build this problem, you can start to see real improvements in just a few months by changing the signals you send to your body. Insulin is a powerful hormone that does much more than just move sugar. When it stays high all the time, it tells your body to store fat, especially around your belly. It causes inflammation and messes with your hunger signals. That afternoon crash and those hangry feelings are usually caused by high insulin, not just old age. One of the biggest things insulin does is act as a fat storage switch. When insulin is high, your body is in storage mode. It literally cannot burn stored body fat for fuel because high insulin tells the fat cells to stay locked shut. If you are eating frequently throughout the day, your insulin stays high and your fat-burning engine stays turned off. This is why simply eating fewer calories often doesn't work if you are still eating too often. Now let's talk about the first big change you can make. Stop drinking sugar. This includes table sugar, but also healthy things like fruit juice, honey, and agave syrup. These are full of fructose. While glucose can be used by any cell in your body, fructose has to be processed by your liver. When you dump a bunch of liquid sugar into your system, your liver gets overwhelmed and turns that sugar into fat. This leads to a fatty liver, which makes your insulin resistance even worse. Fruit juice is basically concentrated sugar without the fiber that makes the whole fruit okay. Switching to water, plain tea, or black coffee is the fastest way to give your liver and your insulin a break. You will often see a change in your energy in just a couple of weeks just from this one step. The second change is being careful with starches. People often think complex carbs like whole wheat bread or brown rice are perfectly healthy, but starch is really just long chains of glucose. As soon as you start chewing, your body begins turning that bread or rice into sugar. Some healthy foods spike your blood sugar just as fast as a candy bar. Even gluten-free versions are often made with highly refined flours that are even worse for your insulin. You don't have to quit all carbs, but you need to be very picky. The best way to handle this is the third strategy. Fill half your plate with non-starchy vegetables. Things like broccoli, cauliflower, leafy greens, and peppers have very little sugar and a lot of fiber. Fiber acts like a shield. It slows down how fast sugar enters your blood, which means your pancreas doesn't have to pump out as much insulin. It's like a buffer for your metabolism. The fourth strategy is about how often you eat. Every time you snack, your insulin spikes. If you eat 6 times a day, your insulin never has a chance to come down. By giving your body longer breaks between meals, what some call time-restricted eating, you allow your insulin levels to drop. This gives your cells a chance to reset and become sensitive again. It also gives your body a chance to finally start burning that stored fat. Start by trying to eat all your food within a 12-hour window. For example, between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. It's a simple way to help your body recover without feeling like you are starving. Finally, the most powerful trick of all, the post-meal walk. This is my number one tip. After your biggest meal, go for a 10 to 15-minute walk. When your muscles move, they can pull sugar out of your blood without needing any insulin at all. They have a side door that opens up just from movement. By walking right after you eat, you soak up that sugar spike before it can cause damage. This reduces the amount of insulin your body needs to make. It stops the afternoon brain fog and helps your energy stay steady. You don't need a gym or a workout outfit. Just a simple stroll around the block makes a massive difference. If you are on medication, please talk to your doctor before making big changes, as these steps work so well they might actually change how much medicine you need. But for everyone else, start slow. Pick one thing, like the post-meal walk or cutting out juice, and see how you feel. Your body isn't failing because it's old, it's just waiting for the right signals. When you lower the insulin, you turn the fat-burning switch back on, clear the brain fog, and actually address the root of the problem. Once you realize that the core engine driving your health issues is chronically high insulin, everything changes. Your insulin stays high because of a specific set of habits: eating too often, consuming high amounts of starch, drinking liquid sugars, and never giving your body a low insulin window to recover. When you understand this, you can stop fighting against your body and start designing a strategy that actually works with your biology. The goal here isn't to find a perfect diet that you follow for a week and then quit. The real goal is to lower your average daily insulin levels and keep them low for months at a time. You achieve this by consistently applying a few smart behaviors, not by being perfect every single day. Always remember, blood sugar follows insulin. If you fix the insulin environment, Your blood sugar regulation will naturally get better as a result. This isn't just a guess or a theory. This is the well-documented science behind type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, and many of the chronic health problems that people struggle with today. You cannot fix a problem by only chasing the symptoms. You have to go to the source. Using the same food options in the same body, you can create a totally different result just by changing your strategy. Here is your 30-day plan to get started. For the first week, your only job is to get rid of liquid sugar. This means no fruit juice, no soda, no sweet coffee drinks, and no energy drinks. Just cut them out completely. By the end of this first week, pay close attention to how your energy feels and whether your hunger patterns have started to stabilize. In the second week, keep the liquid sugar out and add one more thing, a 10 to 15-minute walk right after your biggest meal of the day. Try to do this every day, but aim for most days as a minimum. This simple movement helps your muscles soak up sugar without needing extra insulin. In the third week, it is time to look at your starches. Start reducing things like bread, pasta, and processed grains. You don't need to weigh your food or count points. Just change the proportions on your plate. Take the space where the bread used to be and fill it with non-starchy vegetables like broccoli, peppers, or leafy greens. Finally, in the fourth week, we focus on your eating window. Aim for a 12-hour window where you eat and a 12-hour window where you don't. A key part of this is stopping all food intake 2 to 3 hours before you go to sleep. This allows your overnight low insulin period to stretch out and do its repair work. After 30 days, look at what has shifted. Check your morning energy, see if you still feel sleepy after lunch, look at your waist measurement, and notice if your sleep is deeper. These are the signs that your metabolism is healing, often moving much faster than a standard blood test can show. Your body isn't broken. It's simply adapted to the signals you gave it over many years. Since adaptation works in both directions, changing those signals will change your body's response. Age doesn't take away this ability. Understanding the process simply gives you the power to use it again. In my next video, I am going to explain why a very common, healthy breakfast actually spikes your insulin more than most desserts do, and why most people still think it's good for them. If you've been forcing yourself to eat breakfast because you were told it's the most important meal of the day, that video will completely change your mornings. If you want to dive deeper into this framework, my longevity guide covers these steps in detail and includes a timing template for your meals. You can find the link below. I also need to talk about stress because it is a massive hidden reason why people struggle with insulin resistance. Most people think stress is just a mental feeling, but the biological connection to your blood sugar is direct. When you are stressed, whether it's from work, money, or even just not sleeping enough, your body releases cortisol. Cortisol's main job is to raise your blood sugar. It tells your liver to dump stored sugar into your blood to give you energy to fight or flee. This was great for our ancestors running from predators, but for us, sitting in traffic or at a desk, that extra blood sugar just sits there. It triggers an insulin spike and adds to your total metabolic load, even if you haven't eaten a single bite. This is why managing stress is a metabolic necessity, not a luxury. To fix your insulin, you have to lower your cortisol. The best ways to do this are getting consistent sleep, daily walking, and even simple deep breathing. Taking a few minutes to slowly exhale calms your nervous system and can lower your cortisol almost immediately. These are evidence-based tools that address the physical drivers of your health issues. Finally, let's talk about the timeline, because feeling like progress is too slow is the #1 reason people give up. Some things change fast. Your post-meal sugar levels improve within days of walking. Your fasting insulin can start to drop in just 2 or 3 weeks of cutting sugar. You will likely feel better and less hangry in the first 10 days. However, changing your body composition, like losing fat and gaining muscle, usually takes 6 to 12 weeks to really show up. Major lab markers like your A1C need at least 3 months because that test measures a 3-month average. Reversing years of insulin resistance is a gradual process of building health day by day. The people who see the most success aren't the ones who try to be perfect for a week. They are the ones who stay consistent long enough for their biology to fully catch up. Your body wants to be healthy. It just needs the right environment to get there. I'm Dr. Samuel Thompson, and I'll see you in the next one.